Joining me now is former ACCC Chair Allan Fels. Allan, thanks so much for your time. Look, Senate inquiries are important. Sometimes they are just an exercise in public embarrassment. So tell us, do you think those questions were fair and reasonable, and were the answers too opaque?
Well, I was a bit surprised that the Woolies CEO didn't actually know the return on equity, even though they more commonly use the other measure, return on investment. Both have their uses. The way I look at it is the markup. And the markup in Australia tends to be higher than in the UK or the US. And that's a sign of a lack of competition. It's also gone up somewhat in recent times, including during COVID. And I wouldn't call that price gouging, but I don't know that I feel that happy about putting up profits at that time. I don't normally mind firms putting up prices to make more profit if they can.
Right, so how much of the Senate committee did you watch yesterday? Are we any closer to getting some full and frank answers?
No, I didn't watch a lot of it. I watched the show business bit of it that you've yourself reproduced. And with regard to supermarket prices, the best single way of getting them down is if we could get a big new entrant to come into the Australian market. That would bring prices down. Recently, a German operator, Kaufman, came to Australia, spent money, looked as if they'd come into the market, but they didn't. Now, apart from that, all the inquiries are probably causing a bit of a moderation in supermarket prices for the duration of the inquiries, which is another year, given the ACCC inquiry.
Allan, if other players have looked at it and seen, obviously government wants another entrant into the market, but if other players outside have looked at it and decided not to do it, the market conditions mustn't be there for them. We've also got, IGA, Harris Farm, Aldi, to name a few that exist at the moment. Is there a way that the government or those players alone could feel themselves more present? And does there actually need to be some government help to do that in order to get to that better competitive environment that you talk about?
So obviously we wouldn't subsidise them. The one step that is common both to your point about foreign entry and market conditions and the other players is we could look much harder at so-called land banking, where retailers buy up land that would otherwise be available for other retailers to set up shops. And
so you think that's a really big issue, because it's kind of been talked about on the fringes. I know the coalition's talking about it, but you think that's certainly, in a top tier issue when it comes to competition?
It's not going to work miracles. I have no miracle to offer on this. It would improve things a bit.
Yeah, okay. So what do we need to hear from this Senate inquiry? Do you think it is going to help, or is it really the government acting on whatever we can learn from this?
The one thing I would like to see is the Senate inquiry make a recommendation that the competition law be changed to include a power to break up businesses in general, not particularly retail. Indeed, I'm not at all sure it would work well on retail, and it would only work if a court of law found they'd been breaching the competition law and if a court of law thought that was the best remedy. That law applies successfully, effectively in the US, but it's only occasionally used every 20, 30 years. It had a huge effect on telephones. It freed up the market, expanded a lot of jobs. It's been looked at now with the digital platforms like Google in the US. The existence of that power would have a big incentive effect on businesses to comply with the law.
Allan Fels, always good to have you on the program. We'll speak soon. This issue not going to be fixed anytime soon, it would seem.
Thank you.